What if death wasn't the end? What if the moment we call death is just a temporary pause, one that future technology could undo? Welcome to the incredible story of a man who dared to challenge the limits of mortality. This is the story of Dr. Robert Ettinger, the visionary physicist and science fiction enthusiast who founded the modern cryonics movement. He believed death is not an absolute finality but a problem that science can solve. Today, we'll explore how his groundbreaking ideas reshaped our understanding of life, death, and the future of human survival. Born in 1918, Ettinger grew up during a time when the world was just beginning to dream about space travel, life extension, and futuristic technologies. He was inspired by the pages of science fiction, stories that planted the seeds of a revolutionary idea. What if we could freeze a human body after death and bring it back to life when science had advanced far enough to cure any disease or reverse aging? It was a wild dream, but Ettinger believed it could be a reality. In 1962, Ettinger introduced the world to cryonics with his groundbreaking book, The Prospect of Immortality. He argued that freezing people immediately after legal death could preserve them for future revival thanks to advances in medical science. His ideas were bold, controversial, and ahead of their time, but they sparked a movement that will forever change the way we think about death. Determined to turn theory into practice, Ettinger founded the Cryonics Institute in 1976. It became one of the first and most enduring organizations dedicated to cryopreservation, offering affordable cryonics services and preserving the hope that science might one day conquer death. And yes, when Ettinger passed away in 2011, he was cryopreserved himself, a living testament to his life's mission. Dr. Robert Ettinger's legacy reaches far beyond the Cryonics Institute. His ideas have influenced fields ranging from nanotechnology and regenerative medicine to transhumanism and the ethics of life extension. His story is one of vision, courage, and an unshakable belief in the power of human ingenuity to overcome even the most profound challenges. So, what do you think? Is cryonics the future of immortality, or simply a science fiction fantasy? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories about the pioneers shaping our future. Dr. Robert Ettinger is widely regarded as the father of the modern cryonics movement. His groundbreaking ideas and passionate advocacy for life extension through cryopreservation have left a lasting legacy in both scientific and philosophical realms. The story of his life is as remarkable as the futuristic vision he championed. Robert Chester Wilson Ettinger was born on December 4, 1918, in Atlantic City, New Jersey, into a family of modest means. His parents, Ria Ettinger and Harris Ettinger, were Jewish immigrants from Russia, a background that instilled in him a strong sense of resilience and intellectual curiosity. Soon after his birth, the family moved to Detroit, Michigan, where Ettinger would spend much of his early life. As a child, Ettinger exhibited a keen interest in science, technology, and literature. He was an avid reader, and one of his most profound influences came from the pages of science fiction. The works of H.G. Wells, particularly The Time Machine and The War of the Worlds, sparked his fascination with the possibilities of human advancement and life extension. Another influential work was The Jameson Satellite by Neil R. Jones, a story about a man whose brain is preserved in space after death, a concept that would later shape Ettinger's own ideas about cryonics. Ettinger's intellectual gifts earned him a place at Wayne State University in Detroit, where he pursued a degree in physics. His studies reflected his passion for understanding the mechanics of the universe, but his education was interrupted by the outbreak of World War II. Like many young men of his generation, he was called to serve his country. During the war, Ettinger served as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. He was deployed to the European theater, where he experienced the brutality of combat. In 1944, he was gravely wounded when a piece of shrapnel struck his leg. He survived the injury, but it left him with chronic pain and limited mobility for the rest of his life. This experience deepened his resolve to explore ways to overcome human frailty and mortality. Ettinger returned to the United States with a renewed determination to continue his education. He completed his physics degree at Wayne State University and later pursued graduate studies. However, his true passion lay in the intersection of scientific possibility and human potential, a theme that would dominate his life's work. Ettinger's wartime injury and fascination with science fiction planted the seeds for what would become his defining contribution to the world, the concept of cryonics. He believed that death was not an absolute state but a technical challenge that future technologies might be able to overcome. By preserving a body at extremely low temperatures, he theorized it could be kept intact until advances in medicine could revive and heal it. This vision, radical for its time, would soon be elaborated in his groundbreaking book, The Prospect of Immortality, published in 1962. However, his early years and education provided the intellectual foundation and personal motivation that would drive his quest to challenge the boundaries of life and death. The foundational idea of cryonics emerged from Ettinger's lifelong fascination with science fiction. As a young man, he was deeply influenced by Neil R. Jones's short story, The Jameson Satellite, 1931. In the tale, Professor Jameson's body is preserved in space after death, and millions of years later, his brain is revived by a race of robot beings. This imaginative scenario planted the seed in Ettinger's mind that perhaps human preservation and future revival were not beyond the realm of scientific possibility. Ettinger's thoughts on the subject matured as he delved deeper into physics, biology, and medical advancements during his time as a student and later as a teacher. He began to see death not as a metaphysical endpoint but as a biological state that could be manipulated if the right technology were developed. In 1962, Ettinger crystallized his ideas in his groundbreaking book, The Prospect of Immortality. Written with both scientific rigor and visionary optimism, the book proposed a startling hypothesis: if the body could be preserved immediately after clinical death using ultra-low temperatures, future medical advances might be able to repair damage, reverse aging, and even restore life. Ettinger called this process cryonics, derived from the Greek word kryos, a meaning cold. The book's premise was simple yet revolutionary. 1. Death as a process, not an event. Ettinger argued that death is not instantaneous but occurs gradually as the body's systems shut down. Therefore, preserving the body immediately after legal death could keep tissues and organs intact for potential future revival. 2. Exponential medical advancements. He believed that scientific progress was accelerating at a rapid pace. Future breakthroughs in nanotechnology, genetics, and medicine would eventually make it possible to cure diseases, repair cellular damage, and rejuvenate aging bodies. 3. Obligation to preserve life. Ettinger viewed cryonics as an ethical imperative, offering people the chance to survive into an unknown but potentially wondrous future rather than accepting death as an inevitability. The prospect of immortality was both celebrated and criticized. It captured the imagination of futurists and life extension enthusiasts but faced skepticism from the scientific community. Critics dismissed cryonics as speculative pseudoscience, pointing to the technical challenges and the absence of proven methods to revive frozen organisms without damage. Despite these doubts, Ettinger's ideas resonated with a growing number of followers who shared his optimistic view of human progress. Ettinger followed his first book with A Man into Superman, 1972, where he explored the broader implications of cryonics and life extension, including the philosophical and social impact of potentially endless human life. The publication of The Prospect of Immortality sparked the formation of the cryonics movement. In 1966, the first organization dedicated to cryonics, the Cryonics Society of New York, was established by Saul Kent and Curtis Henderson, inspired by Ettinger's writings. Ettinger himself founded the Cryonics Institute, CI, in 1976 in Michigan, dedicated to providing affordable cryopreservation services. Ettinger's mother, Rhea, was one of the first people to be cryopreserved at CI. This personal connection underscored his deep commitment to the cause. He believed that cryonics was not a far-fetched fantasy but a logical extension of humanity's enduring quest to conquer death. After the publication of The Prospect of Immortality in 1962, Ettinger's groundbreaking ideas about cryonics gained a following. While several cryonic societies were established in the 1960s, many faced operational challenges due to a lack of funding, technological expertise, and long-term planning. Ettinger envisioned a more robust and sustainable model that would be scientifically grounded and financially accessible to the average person. Ettinger believed that Cryonics should be structured as a non-profit organization to ensure the focus remained on life preservation rather than profit. His goal was to provide cryopreservation services at the lowest possible cost without compromising quality, to making it available to anyone who sought a second chance at life. In 1976, Ettinger founded the Cryonics Institute, CI, in Clinton Township, Michigan. He established CI as a non-profit membership-based organization dedicated to cryonic suspension, now called cryopreservation, and related scientific research. Unlike commercial ventures, CI was rooted in a community-oriented model, emphasizing affordability, accessibility, and scientific integrity. From the beginning, Ettinger sought to differentiate CI with several key principles. 1. Affordable cryopreservation. Ettinger was committed to providing cryonic suspension at a fraction of the cost charged by other facilities. His goal was to lower barriers to entry, to making cryonics an option for people from various economic backgrounds. By keeping prices low, CI democratized access to cryonics and expanded its reach. 2. Whole body preservation. While some cryonics organizations offered only head or brain preservation, neuropreservation, CI focused primarily on whole body preservation. Ettinger believed this approach offered the best chance for future revival and complete rejuvenation of the body. 3. Member-driven approach. CI was designed as a membership organization where individuals paid a one-time fee and annual dues to maintain their status. Members had a voice in the governance of the organization, reinforcing the community-based ethos Ettinger championed. The initial years of CI were marked by modest resources but immense dedication. Ettinger's family played a significant role, with his mother, Eria Ettinger, becoming one of the first individuals cryopreserved at the Institute. This deeply personal decision reflected Ettinger's unwavering belief in the promise of cryonics. His wife, May Ettinger, later followed. CI began operations with limited equipment and technology compared to modern standards. The early cryopreservation process involved using liquid nitrogen to store bodies at temperatures low enough to halt all biological decay. Despite technological limitations, Ettinger and his colleagues worked tirelessly to improve the techniques and ensure the highest possible standards. Under Ettinger's leadership, CI became a central pillar of the global cryonics community. It attracted members from around the world who shared a desire to extend their lives and push the boundaries of scientific discovery. CI's educational initiatives, including newsletters, conferences, and outreach efforts, helped spread awareness about cryonics and its potential. Ettinger's influence also inspired other cryonics organizations, fostering a cooperative spirit among those working toward life extension. While competition existed, Ettinger emphasized collaboration to advance the science and ethics of cryonics. Ettinger's central argument that death is a technical problem rather than an irreversible fate reshaped philosophical and scientific discussions about mortality. By reframing death as a biological state that could be postponed or reversed, he opened new avenues for exploring how technology might one day overcome the limitations of the human body. His ideas inspired a generation of thinkers to reconsider the boundaries between life, death, and medical possibility. His belief that science could eventually master the repair of cellular damage, cure all diseases, and reverse aging positioned him as a futurist whose optimism was rooted in a profound trust in human ingenuity. His influence reached not only cryonics enthusiasts but also bioethicists, philosophers, and technologists engaged in discussions about transhumanism and radical life extension. Ettinger's influence was largely propelled by his seminal works. The Prospect of Immortality, 1962, introduced the world to the concept of cryonics, arguing that freezing people immediately after death could preserve them for future revival. This book inspired the founding of cryonics organizations worldwide. Man into Superman, 1972, expanded on the social, ethical, and philosophical implications of cryonics and life extension. Ettinger foresaw a future where humans would evolve beyond their current biological limitations, embracing technological enhancements and longevity. These books helped move cryonics from the fringes of science fiction into the realm of serious speculative science, attracting thinkers, innovators, and even skeptics to engage with the concept. The founding of the Cryonics Institute, CI, in 1976 was perhaps Ettinger's most enduring contribution. CI provided an affordable, member-driven approach to cryopreservation, making cryonics more accessible to a broader audience. By focusing on whole-body preservation rather than just the brain, CI offered a more comprehensive approach to future revival. Under his leadership, the CI became one of the most respected cryonics organizations in the world. Ettinger's model of affordability, scientific rigor, and community involvement shaped the structure and goals of subsequent cryonics institutions. His insistence on nonprofit governance and member participation set a standard that emphasized ethical responsibility over profit. Ettinger's work significantly influenced the burgeoning fields of transhumanism and life extension research. His ideas resonated with thinkers who explored how technology could enhance human capabilities and prolong life indefinitely. Organizations like the Extropy Institute and figures such as Ray Kurzweil and Aubrey de Grey drew upon themes from Ettinger's writings in their own work on radical longevity. Cryonics itself, while still a controversial and experimental practice, has gained broader recognition as part of the longevity movement, a field focused on extending human lifespan and health span through scientific innovation. Ettinger's early advocacy helped legitimize cryonics as a topic worthy of serious inquiry, laying the groundwork for ongoing research into cryopreservation technologies. Ettinger's ideas also sparked profound ethical and philosophical debates. Critics questioned whether reviving preserved individuals would be feasible, and if so, whether they would retain their original consciousness and identity. His work raised questions about personhood, consent, and the societal impact of potentially indefinite life extension. Despite these controversies, Ettinger remained steadfast in his belief that offering people the chance to be revived in the future was a moral imperative. He viewed cryonics as a form of life insurance, an opportunity to preserve life until future science could intervene. Robert Ettinger's death on July 23, 2011, was not the end of his story. True to his beliefs, he was cryopreserved at the Cryonics Institute, joining his mother, Thea Ettinger, and his second wife, May Ettinger, in cryostorage. His own preservation serves as a powerful symbol of his lifelong commitment to the principles he championed. Today, the Cryonics Institute continues to operate as one of the leading cryonics organizations in the world, preserving hundreds of individuals in the hope of future revival. The movement has expanded globally, with organizations like Alco Life Extension Foundation and research institutions dedicated to improving preservation techniques and understanding the challenges of revival. Ettinger's legacy lives on in the ongoing scientific exploration of cryobiology, advancements in nanotechnology, and the growing field of regenerative medicine, all of which could one day realize the future he envisioned. His influence can be seen in discussions about human longevity, technological evolution, and the ethical responsibilities of future generations. Dr. Robert Ettinger was more than a dreamer, he was a visionary who dared to challenge the greatest inevitability of life, death itself. Through his groundbreaking ideas, his writing, and the founding of the Cryonics Institute, he created a legacy that continues to influence science, ethics, and futurism today. His belief that death is a technical problem awaiting a technical solution has inspired both awe and controversy. While cryonics is still in its experimental stages, advancements in medical technology, regenerative medicine, and nanotechnology bring us closer to the future he envisioned. Whether or not his dream of reanimation will become reality, his influence on how we think about life extension and the possibilities of human survival beyond death is undeniable. As we stand on the frontier of tomorrow, Dr. Ettinger's legacy reminds us that imagination and science are deeply connected. He challenged us to rethink what it means to live, die, and hope for a second chance at life. His story is a powerful testament to human curiosity and the relentless pursuit of possibilities that lie beyond the limits of our current understanding. So, what do you think about cryonics? Is it a glimpse into the future or an impossible dream? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more incredible stories about the pioneers who are shaping the future of humanity.